This podcast is brought to you in part by a special group of individuals that I like to call my Patreon podcast producers, and all of them are over on Instagram. So please stop what you're doing right now and go show them some love, because they're showing big love to this podcast. Daryl at Your Level Fitness, Amy at Gem of the Gym, that's GEM of the GYM, Caitlin at Caitlin Elise, put 3 Y's in her name, Crystal at Reduced Fat Mama, Emily at M is the Biggest Loser, that is EM is the Biggest Loser, Joey at Joey Losing Weight, Vanessa at Vanessa Ray's Journey, and Amber at amber.l.ables. Follow all of these amazing people. Their contributions to this show are pushing it farther forward than I could have ever imagined, and I'll be forever grateful for their support. And if you want to join this special group, listen at the end of the show for more details. Are you Team Apple? I got to shout out all of you checking out this show right now on an iPhone, iPad, etc. In fact, nearly 70% of you are listening to me on one of these devices. It would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review. This is one of the best things that you can do for this podcast to help get the word out. And while you're at it, leave reviews for some of your other favorite shows. I bet they would really dig it. Oh, yeah! How did we get connected? That's one of the things I like. I don't know. Have you ever heard this podcast before?
I have. I've listened to a few episodes. The first episode I listened to was actually when Leah 300 to Life was on it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how me and her got connected, but she actually lives in Texas too, and I actually met her. It's probably been like a month ago.
Okay.
Because she lives down in Austin, which is like 4 hours from me.
Right.
So that's how we got connected.
I see. So you heard the pod. I'm sure you probably saw a post that she made about the podcast, and you're like, what the hell is this thing all about? And then you go check it out.
Yes. And then everybody, and then like also when y'all went to Flying Pig.
Yeah.
A while ago, that's how I got connected with like the rest of you more. Yes.
That is how we all, is how a lot of us get connected through this Flying Pig, which is happening next year. There's one that just happened back in May, and now the one next year, which you are coming to.
I am. Me and Leah, and then her wife, and then my girlfriend, I think, are all gonna like kind of road trip up there.
Oh, so you guys are gonna ride together?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So it'll be like just like a big road trip, and then we'll be there, and then we'll road trip back.
So are you guys on the way to Cincinnati, or is she on the way? To like, who's picking who up first? How does that all work?
I'm on the way. So
okay.
Leah will pick us up.
Gotcha. Now that's going to be pretty cool. Like, I remember when I was a kid, and my biological father, that's kind of how I reference him. That's the kindest way I can reference him. He was in the Navy, and we would travel across the country because there was times where he would move my mom and I back to Virginia, and then we'd move back to California when he had to go out to sea and all. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, as a kid, I always kind of remembered vaguely like traveling across the country and how much fun that was to get in a car and go. And like, even my wife and I now, like, we like to take, I think I more so like the road trip aspect of it. She loves to fly, but either way, just the idea of traveling. But I think you guys are in a cool spot because you're going to be driving it, and that's always fun, like driving any long, but it's not for everybody. I get it. But like, there are some of us out there, like, we love that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun. I'm excited.
Yeah. So, but here's the problem though. So it's like, we all kind of come together with this Flying Pig, and we realize like, holy crap, like there's another year before this thing even happens.
Yeah. That's got a while to go.
That's a little tricky. So, trying to go all this time now. Have you been in a race yet?
I have, but never a 10K.
Okay.
I think I might attempt this one in December. It's like a Jingle Bell or snow or some Christmas winter themed
Y'all ain't got no
one.
snow in Texas. Come on now.
We don't have snow, but
Whoever was marketing was like hoping like, I hope that we find some people that are like fans of winter, fans of Christmas, and we're gonna bamboozle them into feeling like they're gonna go running in the snow or something.
exactly. And then they actually made the metal. It's like an actual snow globe, like half of it is.
Okay, that's cool.
So yeah, so that one, I might do the 10K of that one, but I've done 2 5Ks so far.
Oh, cool. And how did those go for you? How did you feel after those?
Well, the first one, it was like I was kind of planning on it, but not really. And then the day came, and then I did it with my dad and little sister.
Right.
So I didn't prepare for that at all, and so I was pretty sore, and like it was a lot more than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
But then the second one, my job sponsors them sometimes or like gets entries into them.
Right.
And so the second one was actually a zoo run. And so like the first part was like just through the streets and then the last part was through the zoo. So that one was like much better. I felt much better. I did it like a minute faster, but like after the first one I was sore for like a few days, like pretty bad.
Yeah.
But then the second one, like I was fine.
That's how I
So,
felt
and
after
then
my first 5K and then after my first 10K. Like recovery could be a real bitch. Like it took me a while just to kind of get my my feet under me again. It was just it just took the life out of me.
yeah, that first one really just like I was not expecting all that. But like I said, the second one, and it was like a month after that, but so after that first one, after I recovered from that, um, I did better and I was like more consistent in the gym. So I guess I was like more prepared for the second one.
Sure.
And then my job is doing another one in June. It's like the first weekend of June. So I'll be doing that one too. So I'm excited to see how that one goes.
I'll tell you what though, like I just hate the idea of running. And I know there's people that are like, well, gee, why do you even bother? I like it because it's just hard. It's like a challenge, but
Mhm.
like I just like, training for it and all that. Like I'll go out a couple times beforehand and go and complete the distance at whatever my pace is, because I know like, I think that practicing or training in this case can be important, but to the same extent, like I'm like one of those guys, like when I get there, I'm ready, like I'll be ready. And so as long as I can complete the distance at whatever speed I go, like when I actually get there and I'm in the moment and like it actually quote unquote counts, that's when I kind of get like that mental push, that mental motivation. And I'm sure it's probably why my body is just a wreck after I'm done, because I didn't properly train for 6 months. And I understand it, but like, I only want to do like maybe 1 or 2 races a year. I definitely don't want to make it like a career or anything.
Yeah, I don't want it to be a career either. But there's just like so many cool ones. So
Yeah.
like all my ads, I guess, just between like looking up the ones that like I'm actually doing and then just looking at like a couple other ones that I know of, like all my ads on Facebook and Instagram and anywhere are like all these different 5Ks. And so it makes me want to do like more of them, but then I'm like, do I actually really enjoy them like that much to do that many? But
Yeah, that's kind of a question you really got to ask yourself. Like I know, there's a race coming up in November. It's called the Rocky Run, and I'm a big Rocky movie freak. Rocky Balboa, I love him. So I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna do it. But like I do see the ads too. Like I remember my first 5K was actually a Margarita Madness 5K, and so at the end of the finish line, out of all things they give you a margarita. And it's like at that time I actually drank. I don't drink right now. I'm on a challenge this year not to have any alcohol for the entire year of 2019. And so far it's going well. But like I liked the gimmick of it. I thought this idea of, going and doing, a 5K and then getting a cool little medal and a free margarita. And then the second one I did, I would recommend if you can ever do one in a theme park, try it. Cause that's a lot of fun because you get to run around the theme park. Normally you go to a theme park, you get excited, you want to run to the favorite roller coaster and they're like, slow down, like stop running. And now like, hey, I paid here to be here, dude. Like I'm going to get my run on, and you get to run right through the park and it's kind of fun.
That's so cool. That does sound fun. Yeah, this one in June is it's kind of like a Mexican restaurant heading it up that's here in Fort Worth. So at the end you get breakfast tacos.
Ooh, now that's a race I can get behind.
Yeah, so I think that's how I convinced two of my friends to join me.
Right.
I was like, hey, like you do this, you get a cool shirt, and then you get some breakfast tacos at the end. So it's all worth it.
You said tacos plural, like you get more than one?
I don't know. It just says breakfast tacos. It says plural on there, so I guess we'll see.
It's probably like 2 or 3 like small ones, which is still cool. I mean, I hope that the medal's a taco, because I'd be really disappointed if it wasn't.
I know, right? I think it's like a parrot or something. It's not a taco, I don't think.
Well, that's disappointing.
I know.
It should be a taco. I mean, I know my man James Tacos Getting Fit. I know he is all about some damn tacos. So I know he'll be like, man, where's that taco medal? Bring the taco medal. That's what I think.
I know. Yeah. I actually have a taco tattoo. So me and him had a conversation about it the other day.
No kidding.
I do. It's a taco and it says, let's taco about it.
Oh my God. I think I have like an unhealthy obsession with Mexican food in general. Like not even so much tacos, although I'm more of a soft shell guy versus a hard shell. I just like, I geek out for like the burrito bowl. Like I used to be all about the burrito. And then when the weight loss journey came into play, I'm like, all right, I'm going to challenge myself to go without the burrito and just put all the stuff in a bowl. And what I found was I still had my love of Mexican food and I didn't have that burrito. I just was able to eat the rice and the meat and the veggies and all that stuff. And I think what a lot of it is, I'm just like diehard fan of guacamole, which is quite the opposite. I used to not be. My wife, who's probably listening in the car right now, driving to her job or driving home, she's probably like, I got you on the guacamole. And it's true. She was like, I never had it. I never liked it. And then she's like, try this. And I tried it. I fell in love with it.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of guacamole's okay, but avocado by itself is a no. But I do love Mexican food.
Yeah, it's just the best.
My favorite.
Isn't this crazy, by the way? I just have to say that I've never actually said this like right in the middle of a podcast, but like we literally had not uttered a word to each other 15 minutes prior other than like text-based DMs. And here we are sitting on a podcast. How weird is that? Or like how cool is that?
I know. It's like it's weird, but also it's so cool. Just because like we can have conversation, but I don't think we've like ever, even in like DMs and stuff, it's been very like minimal. I was just like, hey, I want to be on your podcast.
Yes. You were like, I want to, like, you came out and you were like, I want to be on this podcast. Like you were like, not even the day that I asked people if they want to come on. It was just like an odd day. You're like, pretend as if this was the, hey, who wants to be on my podcast? And this is my reply. And I'm like, all right, we gotta chat for sure. But
yeah,
it's crazy though, when you think about it. Cause it's like, how many times would we, and be honest, people are listening too, like be honest with yourself. Like how often would you just walk up to a stranger and start talking to them?
I know, it's so crazy. Like how like Instagram works and you're just like, hey, and we have like full on like friendships with people like you never met besides on the internet.
Definitely. And that's kind of something I wanted to get into a little bit is the Instagram, and we'll talk about the background of your story and everything. I want to get into all that, but since we're already here, like how did you, I mean, we all kind of, it's not like, how did you get to Instagram? Because like we all have phones, and by nature, we like to take pictures on our phones, and Instagram is the app where you post your pictures. So it's not really a question of how did you get on Instagram, more so as, when do you decide that, you know, you're going to share your journey. And then part of that also is, you know, did you have, or do you have another account that's like your main account? And then like, did you like start a weight loss one, or like, how does all that start?
Yeah, so I do have another one. It's just my name.
Yeah.
But I started a separate one because one of my friends, and I don't think he's on Instagram anymore,
Mhm.
but so I followed like I was friends with him, so I followed his main one. And then he was like, "Hey, I just started this other Instagram, like follow it. It's going to be about me losing weight." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Okay." So I followed it, and then like I would see all these people, and I was like, "Do you know these people?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, "But it's so cool because like everybody like on here is like about losing weight or just like about their like health in general." And so like it's nice to have that separate space to where like people are excited about like what you're excited about, and
Yeah.
like different like health related things. Whereas on like your normal one, you could be like, "Hey, I lost 5 pounds," and like no one like really cares. Like there'll be people that care, but I feel like on the like in the more weight loss space, people are like, "Yeah, 5 pounds, that's great," you know, like they really care about more about like your journey and stuff than just people like on your normal Instagram.
Yeah. I was having this
So
conversation on the podcast, and I don't remember which episode number it was, but just listen to them all, everybody. I was having this conversation with somebody about like how it is like people in real life versus people on Instagram. And it's like how we feel so comfortable, or even online, like to a certain degree, like you can maybe have a Facebook, right? And you have like family and friends on there, like in real life. And it's like
mhm.
how much more comfortable you feel sharing weight loss stuff with complete strangers versus your family or friends. I don't know if that's something that you've personally gone through, because I know everybody's different, but I hear that a lot from people. And it's like, yeah, you know, I totally will share my story on Instagram to complete strangers. But like when it comes to like family and friends, like they don't even know I have this page. Like it's a big secret. Like nobody knows I have this page. They don't know what I'm doing, blah, 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 blah. Like, was that a thing for you, or is it a thing for you?
It was. So, like, at first it was private. It was
It was on the
like,
DL.
yeah, for sure. Like, I even blocked like a couple of my
Jeez. Okay.
friends.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, no, I blocked a couple of my friends just because I was like, really, I think in the beginning was just because like I wasn't sure I was gonna stick to it because I was like a couple months into like losing weight or whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've never really like tried like hard to lose weight, but you know, I've like tried to lose weight before, but not really like put any effort in it. So like I always stopped. And then I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna like keep going. And then like I'm just gonna have this Instagram or like people are gonna know or whatever. So but yeah, so at first it was like a huge like secret.
Yeah, that's the fear, right? Like, what if I quit? What if I stop? Then everybody knows. And that's also kind of the attraction of doing it in the first place. Cause you're like, well, if I tell everybody, I can't stop now.
Yeah.
That's how I felt like when I first started it. I was like, you know, I'm just gonna like post all this stuff. I'm probably gonna drive all my, because it was my personal account at first, and I didn't
Mhm.
create a separate one. That I've always had this one, and I was like, oh god, I'm probably gonna annoy the hell out of a lot of people just by posting this stuff. But whatever, you know, like it's my page, this is my life, this is what I'm doing, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh boy, you know, we're getting deep into this, and people are starting to know now, and they're like, you know, they're going to ask if I stop. And so like, you know, now it's gotten so far in where it's like, you know, if I even thought about stopping, and I mean, I've had bad days. We all have bad days. We can talk about that at some point, but like, you know, like if I like stop, like if I go a month without, you know, working out or something, like people are going to start to know, they're going to ask questions. So like, it's a hell of a motivator. That's for sure.
It really is, especially just because like if I won't be like going to the gym or something, but then like I'll just be scrolling on Instagram because like I'm not doing anything else, you know.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh look, this person was at the gym and they went to the gym and they went to the gym, and I'm like, I should go to the gym too.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it can definitely be like a huge motivator.
So you started sharing your journey, and how did you find people like to follow and interact with and all that?
So Jordan Shrinks, she's a pretty big I guess you would call like her a weight loss influencer or whatever.
Right.
She has a Facebook group called Bod Squad.
Okay.
And so, but that's like a private group and everything too. And so no one I knew was in it. And so I joined it. And then, it's kind of basically like the same thing like of Instagram, but on Facebook instead in that group. And so I would just find people like on there and follow them and talk to them and stuff like that. And then it kind of just went from there. But now my page is public, so I just find like random people.
You're just putting it out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all out there now. So
yeah, it's kind of fun though. Like when you meet somebody new, like on there, like, you know, every so often, because so often now, like I'll get followers that'll come through and they'll like never say a word. Like they won't even like I think when they follow, they like 2 or 3 photos at best. You might get one comment if you're lucky. And then they just become kind of like ghosts. Like you never hear from them. They never talk to you. Maybe they might like stalk your stories, but they never like a single thing you post. But then like you'll get somebody that actually like sends you a message like, hey, I saw this and I'm on a similar journey, or hey, I saw this and it inspired me. And you never know who you're inspiring. And that's when it's exciting. Cause like somebody that's like actually there because they want to like interact and talk with you, and then they become friends and you talk, and that's really exciting to me. That part of it I really, really like.
yeah, it's super fun. This girl messaged me the other day and was actually like I've been following your page for a couple weeks and like you're so inspiring. And it just like it took me back, like it like kind of shocked me because I was like, how like am I inspiring, you know? Like I'm still like I still have a lot of weight to lose.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I've lost I think like 46 pounds, you know?
Yep.
But I'm like, you know, I still got like a long way to go. Like, how am I like inspiring or motivating? Like, that's
and
like,
46 is absolutely incredible, by the way. Like, you know, that should not be understated at all. But I think Daryl said it right on his page at Your Level Fitness, because, you know, I got to plug him every single show because that's my boy. You know, your weight is somebody else's goal. And that's huge. Like when you think about it at first, you're kind of like, what does that mean? And then, oh, hey, it really hits. And he had this post that, you know, that was going around. People were sharing the hell out of it. I mean, it's a great message. You know, it's like, hey, you know, your weight is somebody else's goal. And so you never know who you're really inspiring. And I get it. It's hard to keep up sometimes with the Instagram. Like today we were setting up this chat. I realized I wasn't even following you yet. I thought I already was, because that's how crazy Instagram is. Like you talk to so many people, you're interacting, and it's hard. It gets lost in the shuffle. And that's what I would tell anybody. Like I've gotten, you know, I actually got messages like this. I won't share anybody's name, but like, they'd be like, hey, you know, I followed you like so long ago and you never follow me back. And I'm like, well, number one, that's the first time I'm hearing from you. That's the first time like I know, you know, I don't know each and every person that comes onto the page. I want to know as many people as I can, but like, I can't stress this enough. If you want to chat, please hit me up, because I'm like terrible. I'm terribly organized a lot of times. And so like, I may not even know that you followed. And like, if we chat, we strike up a convo, like, hell yeah, you know, we get to a good chat, I'll follow you right back. I mean, it's not a I don't want to follow too many people thing, because I know that there's influencers or people that are like that. So like I actually had somebody tell me this one time, like somebody was asking me for Instagram advice. I love to give advice on it, because I've built a page and it's fun to look at and all that. And they're like, you know, what's the secret to growth and all that? I'm like, you just got to be social with people. Like it's social networking, and you have to be social. You have to like talk to people, and you have to like comment and like their stuff, and you got to follow people. And they're like, well, I don't want to make it look like I'm following too many people. I'm like, why does it even matter? Like, first of all, you know, like if Instagram didn't have a limit, I probably would follow everybody back. But, you know, you get a lot of these like robot people. It's kind of hard to manage at times.
Yeah.
So
sure.
It's a great community though. And if you're on a weight loss journey, I highly like, I feel like most people listen to this podcast are from this community, but if for some reason you're like maybe the 5 or 10% that's not, and if you're trying to lose weight, I encourage you to create an account, follow people like me and Chelsea and everybody else, and jump on and let's start a discussion. We can all inspire and motivate each other, and it's going to be like really awesome, because that's the one thing about the community, is that everybody's there, they lift each other up, and it's really awesome.
Yeah, it really is. I really like it a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into your backstory though. Let's talk about kind of, where all this began and started, when you were younger, maybe talk a little bit about your childhood, or like when, weight started to become an issue. Cause like it's easy for me. Like when I was a kid, I was always a chubby kid. I like to snack, especially when I was left home alone. The parents are out having dinner and I'm home or whatever, like, hey, whatever, eat this whole bag of chips, whatever. And you get a little older and you can start to go around on your own and do whatever you want and eat wherever you want. Like, when does weight become a problem for you?
Well, I've always been like, I was a really like small kid up
Right.
until like 2 or 3. And then I started to get I was never like huge as a kid, but I was always definitely like the chunky kid.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I just pretty much stayed like around the same in like probably 7th or 8th grade, all through like high school. And then I feel like after high school I kind of got bigger, and then probably in like 2016 or 17 I gained like some more weight, and then 2018 is when I started losing weight.
What do you think it was that like made you like contributed to the weight gain? Like, was there, just, an unhealthy obsession with food, or like what do you think attributed to it?
Really, I mean, I do like food a lot,
Right.
but I don't think it was like ever like an obsession about food or anything. Honestly, I think more so of what it was is like I was lazy. Like I'm still like a lazy person. Like I mean, I love to just like hang out and like watch Netflix or do like, just like hang out and do nothing. So I
I
think
feel you.
I think more than like food. I mean, I would never eat like the healthiest things,
Yeah.
but I think more so it was like my lack of like activity or doing anything that really contributed to it.
Yeah. Did you deal with a lot of like binge eating at all, or?
Not really. Um, I mean, I would always eat probably more than I should,
Yeah.
but not necessarily ever like binging or anything like that.
So it wasn't like a bad food addiction necessarily. It was more or less just lack of activity and bigger portions, but not like, it wasn't like me where I'm stopping at McDonald's every single day, eating a couple of burgers and coming home to my wife and eating dinner. It wasn't like that. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like that. It was like you said, like bigger portions, or like it would be like going out to eat for like breakfast and lunch and dinner, or things like that, where just like it was not good food and it was too much good food, but not like a crazy amount or anything like that. It just was poor choices.
You have that like one go-to meal that would get you every time?
Um, Probably either like Taco Bell or like McDonald's.
Those are
I feel like.
those are the two I hear more often than not. And actually, I think it's as crazy as I was, where I'd go to McDonald's every day. When the more and more people I talk to on this podcast, it's more Taco Bell number one, and then everything else number two. Usually McDonald's or something like that. But like Taco Bell is up there. Like that is a huge, or was a huge issue for a lot of people. I don't know what they put in their food. It must be something like crack or something.
It has to be something. But I think also like in like the senior year or like right after high school.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I would go a lot with my friends, but also because it was like so cheap. Like they had that $2 meal deal where you could get like a burrito and some chips and a drink. And then like everything else on like their value menu, you could get like a few things and it'd be super cheap, but then you'd like still be full and stuff like that. So
Oh my God. I remember anytime I would go there, I lived off of that value meal or dollar meal, like the menu where like they had the cheese wraps that were like 80 some odd cents. And
yeah,
so, the cheese roll up. So you get like 3 or 4 of those. Cause what the hell? It's just a little bit of cheese, right? And a little tortilla.
yeah, exactly.
And then they had this chicken burrito that had like the green ranch, lime, whatever type sauce in it. And that was like absolutely a drug. So I made me 2 or 3 of those, no big deal. And then, usually a crunch wrap or something like that for good measure. But breakfast actually, I think was like, and I later found this out, like how much is, I was never the guy that like looked like what was in the food, like the calorie count or anything. But like, I remember when I used to go there for breakfast a lot, and this is when they first started doing breakfast nationwide. They had this like grande scrambler burrito that had like your choice of meat. It was like sausage, bacon, or steak. And I usually went with steak or sausage because, spoiler alert, they gave you the most meat in there. And then it had like egg and cheese and hash brown. Like, why do you need all that in a burrito? But that's beside the point. I went in there and I had one of those, and usually one of those did me in pretty good. That was damn near like a pound burrito. Like it was at the time, I thought it was the most delicious thing ever, but they got something crazy in their food where they got people just fiending over that stuff.
They really do. Even now, I'm like, ooh, Taco Bell really sounds good, but
Yeah.
I'll have it every once in a while, but
So
nowhere near like I used to.
You didn't have to ban it, in other words.
No, I'll have it every like now and then, like if I really want it. But now I'm like, do I really want like Taco Bell? Because I know it's gonna hurt my stomach.
Yeah.
And that's not gonna be worth it. And so I'll have it every now and then.
Yeah, fair enough. It was one of the places that I banned when I started the journey, only because I had an addiction problem. Like I could not stop going. And so I'm like, okay, this is one of those places where I can't go. And I found that like subbing it out with something else, like a Moe's or a Chipotle, that like, they may not be the best thing on earth, but like they're like the lesser of two evils. That's kind of the logic I'll use in my own mind. I'm like, well, they're the lesser of two evils. And, I'd go in there and get some of their stuff because I felt like their food was probably, again, not the best for you either, but probably a little bit fresher at the very least. And, you're getting more wholesome type stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And then there's actually a place here locally called El Paso that's like a really good Mexican restaurant, and like everything's homemade. And I don't have a addiction problem with it, but like I make it a point, like I'm only allowed to go there once a month, because if I go anymore, I would be back probably at 400 pounds where I was, or almost to 400. So it could be deadly.
Yeah. Mexican food is just so good.
It is, right? I mean, I know that, you get like one meal and it's like, you find like, what is your meal you can't live without. And then sometimes you just want to go and have it over and over and over again. It happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what was the moment like, like for me, it was seeing a picture at my cousin's wedding, and like, how it is when somebody else takes the picture, it's like, whoa, hey, there's something I never seen before. What was your moment like, or did you have a moment where you're like, all right, enough is enough. I have to make a change now.
I did. It was, I had gotten a new job working for like a cable company in the call center, and we had a like graduation or something when we finished training, and they were like, we should take a class picture, and I was like, oh man. And I'm super short, I'm like 5'1",
right?
So they were like, Chelsea, you got to get in the front, and I was like, what? So I got in the front and someone took the picture, and then I saw it and I was like, oh my God. I was like, wow, that is not cute. That's not good. And that was in like December. I think it was like December 23rd.
Right.
And then so I made the good old cliche New Year's resolution to get healthier in 2018. And so, but like even before then, like I knew I needed to change, just because like I would hate Like, I mean, going to work and getting dressed for work wasn't too bad because I mean, I wore the same thing. It was like black pants and like a t-shirt.
Sure.
So it wasn't too bad just because it was like the same thing. So it kind of like the same clothes kind of stretched out a little bit over time and wasn't too bad. But then when I got that new job, I actually had to like dress up more a little bit.
Yep.
And so I had to get some more clothes and they were bigger sizes. And I still just felt like nothing fit right, nothing looked good, all that. But I still was like, but it's okay. But I saw that picture and I was like, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when you get that moment. Now, of course, I would, this is Gary got to do his geeky little sidebars, but like you mentioned working for a cable company, like real quick, I have to know, like, what was that like?
It was, I did not like it. I don't work there anymore.
I bet the call center was probably lit.
Oh man. And I worked in the billing department.
Oh boy.
And
you know, my bill went up 38 cents. Can you tell me why exactly that happened there, ma'am?
Yep. And it's one of those, where they have like a promotion for a year.
Oh yeah.
And then after your year's up, it goes up like ridiculous. And then no, you can't get the promotion again. And it was not fun at all.
You probably would have dreaded dealing with me because I made it a living of calling up. Like I would sign up for whatever promotion was new at the time. And I would set a reminder. I'd go like, hey Siri, and I would set off like, remind me on this day. And it'd be like 3 days before the promotion was over that next year, remind me to cancel cable. And like, I wouldn't cancel, but I'm like, yes, I'm thinking about canceling my service. And then of course, you get signed up for the next promotion, which would be another year, or sometimes if you're lucky 2 years. So you wouldn't have to call for 2 years. And for many years, I would make that a whole thing. Like I would call every year on the dot and negotiate a new promo. So you probably would have been dreading my phone calls, although I was very polite about it.
Hey, well, at least you were polite about it, because some people act like you're really like messing with their prices, like it's like, and you get joy from it. And I'm like, listen, I before I worked here, I had to pay all these prices, and like I was just as frustrated as you. And so they were like, I just don't understand. And I'm like, I don't set the prices. Like if I did, it would just be this promotion, because obviously they still make money doing these promotions. So, yeah. But yeah, it was a decent job. I mean, it was a job, but I'm glad I don't work there anymore.
Well, I actually had a cousin who installed cable systems and whatnot. And do you guys, or at the time when you worked there, did y'all still have it where like your service was free?
Yeah, it was.
Did you get like every channel, like known demand, like everything's unlocked?
So we got, yeah, that's what we got.
Wow.
And we got it for free.
What about like, cause I'm a big like wrestling and mixed martial arts guy. Like, did you get to watch all the pay-per-views free or no?
We didn't, but I think we got a pretty good like discount on them if we wanted to order them.
Those things are expensive. They're like $60 now.
Yeah, they really are. It's crazy how expensive they can be.
Yeah, you don't watch any of that stuff, do you? Wrestling or MMA?
I don't. I don't even have cable.
Oh, okay. What are you, cord cutter? Or you just don't watch TV?
I don't watch much TV. Like we have Netflix, Hulu, but I do watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, that's the boat I'm in. I am like just obsessed with watching YouTube. Like my wife hates it. She's like, God, you're watching this crap again. And then I found a YouTuber that she actually liked, and then she dreaded it a little bit less. But I just get lost in that stuff. Like you sit there and you just find one video, and the next thing you know, like in your suggested feed, here's like 5 more videos. You're like, oh, I have to watch that. Like, how do they make this? Or how I want to see this guy unbox this cell phone for the 10th time or whatever. Like,
yeah, it's so crazy. And then like sometimes they'll just like play like automatically after the other one.
Yeah.
And then I'll just be like, oh my, like how long has it been? And I'm just like watching these videos and I don't even know who these people are anymore. It's crazy.
I love the clickbait ones. How I made $10 million in 36 hours. Wait, what? How's that even possible?
Yes, man.
And then they always say, stick around until the end of the video and I'll tell you exactly. No, tell me now. I don't need you to explain it in 37 minutes.
Yeah, like I don't want to watch the whole thing. I just want to know what the title's about.
And then like you do the thing where you skim through the video and then like you absolutely learn nothing because they just like BS'd through the entire thing, and then by the like they like snuck it in at like a minute maybe 26 out of 37, and then like by the time you get to the end of the video they were just babbling on about something else, and you're like, well, wait, I don't even know what happened.
I know, I did that the other day. Somebody, it was like the title was like, "Why I had to move out of my house and why I'm homeless now." And I was like, I don't want to watch this whole like 45-minute video. I just need to know like why you moved out of your house. And I like tried to skim through the video and I couldn't even figure it out. So I was like, whatever. I could have just watched the video as much time as I was trying to figure out where they were actually talking about it at.
Yeah, true story. Like when I made my Cincinnati videos, I was like, well, I know there's people that are going to want to, especially like my Instagram friends, they're going to want to see like every nook and cranny, but like, how do I make it appealing to the viewer and not an hour long? So I think one of them was like almost 20 minutes, maybe less. And the other one was maybe probably, I don't know, 15, whatever. But I was just like, how do you find that balance where you don't make it too much?
Yeah.
So you decided to get started, and how did you get your start? Because I feel like one of the things that happens, like you're like, okay, I'm making that resolution or whatever, I'm gonna go sign up for a gym, I'm going in blind, or I'm Googling all these diets and plans and supplements and all this stuff. Like, how did you find your path, and how did you get started on your journey?
So I had already actually had a gym membership for like 3 years.
Right.
But it was just one of those ones that it's like you like signed up for like a quarter one time and it's like $10 a month.
Yeah.
So, $10 a month, I would see it come out of my account and I'm like, I should probably go to that,
Yeah.
But so I went to the gym on January 1st. I was like if I'm really gonna make this my resolution, like I gotta like actually go for it. And so I would go to the gym and then I would just use my Fitness Pal to like log my calories and whatnot. And so that's what I did for the most part. And then recently, I actually joined Weight Watchers, or WW is what they call it now, back in April of this year.
Right.
Just because like calorie counting, it became like I could fit this into my calories, and like yeah, I was still in my calories and I was still like losing weight, but I would just eat like whatever. Um, and so I was like, and I kind of got tired of counting calories
Yeah.
just because I was like, this is like a lot. And or I would be like, how like little can I eat without my Fitness Pal telling me that I'm eating too little? And then I would do that for a couple days, and then I would be like, well, like I'm hungry, or like I'm just gonna eat this, and it doesn't really matter, or whatever. So, I just joined Weight Watchers kind of just to switch it up, and then to like you still track points or whatever,
Mhm.
but I feel like that's less stressful for me than to count like calories and stuff like that.
It can be very stressful. Like I know, like when I got started, it was very simple in the extent of like looking at portion size. Like at one point I wasn't even like fully counting calories. Like I had my Fitness Pal set up, and you go and you put in your current body weight, like before you start when you're big, and here is how many calories I think I eat in a day or whatever, and it's like, okay, stay under this number and you'll be okay. And then you start adding your stuff in, and like it puts it in a whole new perspective, like once you add it up throughout the day. And I just remember starting out early on, I was just like, I gotta keep this simple, like, because if I overthink it, or if I try to follow what somebody else says, I'm probably not going to succeed at that. I got to find like what I'm comfortable with, what speaks to me, but what's within reason, what is something that I can actually stick with that is going to help me start to see some results and get me moving in the right direction. And that balance is not easy to come by, but when you find it, man, you can be on fire with it.
Yeah, and so that's like at first I was like, am I just gonna calorie count? am I going to do keto? Am I going to do, like, what am I going to do? Like, what's going to be my thing? So, same thing. I started to just, like, actually pay attention to what an actual portion size was
Yep.
and not what I thought my portion size should be.
Yep.
And so I did kind of just start from there and then go on from there, just because I was like, I don't want to be like, because I went from eating like whatever I wanted to. So I was like, I don't want to be like super restrictive, like with keto or with like paleo or
Sure.
whatever, like all is out there. Like, I don't want to go from eating like Taco Bell and McDonald's and Jack in the Box to eating like all this, because I know myself and I know I wouldn't have like stuck to that whatsoever.
Oh, and
So,
you guys have Jack in the Box out there too. Oh man, I'd be going nuts.
oh, I love Jack in the Box. That's another good one.
Are you in a part of Texas that has In-N-Out as well?
I am, yeah, because
Oh
I'm in like
boy.
Fort Worth, so I'm in the city pretty much.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, yeah. Fort Worth. I was in Dallas 3 years ago for WrestleMania when it was there at the Cowboy Stadium, and I found the In-N-Out, and I about lost my mind. But yeah, it can be very tough. But if you keep it simple and go at your own pace, you really can't go wrong. And I mean, looking at it now, you've lost 46 pounds so far, and you're doing a great job. I mean, how do you think? How would you evaluate yourself? Like, do you think your relationship with food is in a better place? Do you think you have it kind of on point? You think there's more work to do? Like, where do you think you're at with it?
I think like my relationship with food is pretty solid now.
Yeah.
Just because like at the end before I joined Weight Watchers and I was just calorie counting, I was like, well, I can fit these Cheez-Its and this cheeseburger still into my calories and whatever. But like things like that with Weight Watchers, they go off like a few different things.
Right.
I don't know what they're off the top of my head, but so like that cheeseburger, like it would be a lot more points than like some eggs or some broccoli or things like that. So I pretty much eat the same thing every day for lunch.
Yeah.
But for dinners, I feel like dinners was my like main struggle, because I would just eat like whatever and I would just like cook whatever. But now I find myself having, and like my lunches were always kind of healthy just because I always brought my lunch. And so I would just eat like a sandwich and like some pretzels. And that's pretty much what I eat now with like a yogurt. But my dinners, I would be like, well, like I have all these calories or I still have like all these points left and blah, blah, blah. I can just kind of fit whatever. Um, but I started kind of having like a bigger lunch to more balance my meals. And so I feel like I'm in a pretty good like spot nutrition wise and food wise, just because like I'm finally finding like that balance between like eating pretty decent throughout the
Sure.
whole day instead of like super healthy at lunch and then just whatever I wanted at dinner.
And how do you like the Weight Watchers program? I don't know a lot about it. I know that we obviously have a lot of people that we talk to on Instagram that use it. How has it worked for you as far as, I mean, obviously you've seen some great results, but how much of that is Weight Watchers and how much of that is you, pretty much, is I guess is where I'm going with that.
So the last 12 pounds have been on Weight Watchers. And that was in like the last month-ish time frame. Because what happened was I hit like 299, like 299 pounds,
Yeah.
right at the end of 2018. And then the first few months, I would like go back and forth. And then in April, when I decided to join Weight Watchers, I actually weighed like 300.6 again.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, obviously, what I'm doing like isn't working anymore.
Yep.
And so I've lost 12 pounds now with Weight Watchers. But I like it a lot just because like it is the points, and so that's really easy. And then but I also like having the accountability of like having to go like weigh every Friday or Saturday morning depending on my work schedule or whatever.
Yep.
But I like that too. And then there's like a meeting to where they like actually talk about things. Like one time it'll like a couple weeks ago it was about like emotional eating and stuff like that, which I feel like I really don't struggle with emotional eating. But then, like, the next week was about like exercise and trying like new exercise and things like that. So, it is like more based around like different things besides just like weight and food and things like that. And so it's always just, um, it's like always a good like meeting or whatever.
Right. And how much, when it comes to like your actual working out, and how much of a role do they play in that versus like you finding your own workouts pretty much?
Well, there's actually like on like the app, you can actually, there's this section and it's through some app that they have like workouts on there, so that you can do through there. And
Okay.
so like there's no like workout when you like go weigh in or anything like that. It's just like a meeting and then everybody talks like about their week if they want to, or different like things that happened, or like if somebody hits like a milestone, and they get a charm, and then we like clap for them and things like that. So
So it's like
working out is
it's
just
like
kind of
a,
like normal.
it's like a, it sounds to me like it's almost like a community we have on Instagram, but it's like people you like actually go and hang out with. Like it's like a weekly meeting. Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's what it is. So like you'll go, and like I mainly go on Saturday mornings just because I work Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And so like I'll go Saturday morning, you weigh in, and then you just have a meeting, and then like one of the leaders is actually somebody who lost weight with Weight Watchers and has kept it off. Um, and so like that's like the leader, and then it'll just be different people. So yeah, it is kind of just like it's like the same idea of like the community on Instagram, but just in like real life people.
That sounds fascinating. I would think that me personally, I tend to be a rebel a lot. I don't know that I could stick to like any one like laid out plan that like a company puts out, but
Mm-hmm.
it would almost be cool to kind of be a part of it just to go hang out with people. Like if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. And there's like people that have been going for a while, and they're like real good friends, and they're like, "Hey, blah blah blah, how was your week?" or "How's like your kid?" or stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
You ever make any friends there that you hang out with outside of the meetings or?
Not really because I'm still kind of like a shy person, more of an
No.
introvert.
People
And
people
so
laugh when I tell them that I'm that way. They're like, "Oh, bull crap! You don't do that." I'm like, "No, it's a real thing." Like meeting people in Cincinnati, there was like anxiety about it, even though there were people that I talked to on a pretty regular basis. It was just like it's new people you're meeting, and it just makes me nervous. But I'm trying to get more out of that. I'm trying to become more extroverted versus introverted, but it's a slow process.
yeah, no, I understand that. I was actually um pretty nervous to like I would always see your thing about like DM me, like
Yeah.
tell me your story, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, not mine. Um
Well, I'm glad
but
we did
then
it.
yeah, no, it's been super fun and less nerve wracking than I thought it would be,
What? Okay,
which
okay. What was it? What was in your mind? What was the perception, and then what happened in reality? I would love to hear about that.
well, I don't know, like I did so Chelsea Chelchip
Yeah.
has hers, and so I did hers, and like I talk to her pretty
Okay.
regularly,
Oh, so you're a
and
pro.
so
You've done this before. You're a pro
well,
already.
I've done hers, so I was like, but I was even super nervous on hers, and like I mean, we talked all the time, and she was like, "It's just a conversation." I was like,
Yes.
"No, it's not. Like it's a podcast, and it's different." And so, like I was nervous, and I had even talked to her, so I was like, and then I feel like when I listen to your podcast, they're always like people sound like they know what they're talking about or like, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know what I'm talking about. And so I think I was just more nervous like about that. And then like we had never really talked before. And
Yeah.
like I know that's like everybody on your well not everybody on your podcast, but quite a few people you're like, we never talked before now. And I was like, Yeah, but I'm an awkward person. I'm just gonna be like, hi, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah, it is fun just to, because part of it I think for me is like, because I'm shy and introverted to a point, like there's a certain level of uncomfortability with like just like DMing you, like, and just saying, hey, let's set up a podcast. Like when I hit you up yesterday, that was like out of the blue. I was like, you know what, let's just do it. Let's go for it. I get nervous to a certain degree for everybody that I bring on here that I've never met or whatever, just because it's something new, but I push myself to go for it because it never ends up bad. It's just, hey, you were just shy, like chill out and just run with it. Just go with it, Gary.
Yeah, and so when I saw like all your flying pig posts, and then I think Vanessa like commented, or I think you made a post about like you made a podcast. I think the one with Daryl
Yeah.
about flying pig, and then like Vanessa commented something about like, oh, I'll be on it one day. And then I was like, yeah, me too. And then
Yeah, I got to get her on
Daryl,
this thing.
yeah, and then Daryl was like, just message him. Like he's open, like obviously to talk to people. I was like, yeah, I will, like one day. And then I was like, why don't I just like do it, you know? I mean, like I'm trying to get a little more out of my comfort zone. Um, but so I was like, let me just do this. And then that's like one thing that I did that's definitely like far out of my comfort zone. So
Well,
maybe I'll do more things out of it.
if you want to talk about getting out of comfort zones, I know you said you watch a lot of YouTube.
I do.
You ever watch Yes Theory?
I haven't.
Okay. I'm going to drop a link in your DM when we get done. Um, it's all about seeking discomfort. That's their whole motto, seek discomfort. And they have this channel where they say yes to everything. And it's a wild thing. Like, hey, we're going to pick one person from our Instagram DMs and say yes to whatever they're asking for. And it was this girl asking them to come to India. And it's just like wild stuff. It's like one of the coolest channels ever. And it's really inspired me to challenge myself to get out of my comfort zone a lot more. So now that I know that you love YouTube and that you like to get out of your comfort zone, I have to drop this link in your DM now because I think you're going to love it.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. And it's not that I like getting out of my comfort zone.
No, I don't think any of us like it, but yeah.
I just know that it's a good thing to do every once in a while.
Yeah, fair enough.
So.
Fair enough. Well, I'll tell you what, before we wrap this thing up, when you look ahead to the future, what are some goals that, long term, like where do you see yourself? What do you hope to do in like the next 3 to 5 years or so? Like what's your immediate goals?
Ooh, man. So
putting you on the
definitely,
spot.
I know. I wasn't ready. I'm just kidding. Definitely to lose some more weight. And I don't know that I necessarily have like a goal weight just because I've always been like bigger my whole life. So like I don't know what I look like at this weight or that weight. So just lose some more weight for sure. Be healthier. And then I really want to find like a fitness thing that I really enjoy. Like whether that be running, which I don't think it will be, but like running or cycling or yoga or CrossFit or there's so much out there. So just try more things and find one that I really enjoy and do some cool stuff.
That's right. We need to do, what's one thing that you're like terrified to do that maybe you might have thought like, maybe I should do this. Anything come to mind on that?
Really? So I follow Obese to Beast.
Yeah.
And I followed him probably for years, even before I even thought about losing weight. I think like he just probably popped up on my Instagram one day. So I followed him like for a while, and I always see him do CrossFit stuff, and like I always want to try it, but like it always just like scares me. I don't know why, but like I want to try it, but it also just like terrifies me at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you should You should definitely go for it and see what happens.
Yeah, like I know, I mean, like nothing like bad would happen, but I don't know why, but it just makes me like I feel like that's probably one of the main like fitness things like I'm probably most scared to try. I don't know why though.
Well, you know what they say, you gotta rip the Band-Aid off and just go for it.
I know.
Tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram, because they should stop what they're doing right now and they should go follow you.
Yeah, so my Instagram is constructing_Chelsea.
Okay, go follow them.
Real simple.
Hit her up and say what's up. I mean, that's really right. Just follow, drop a few comments, send you a DM, say what's up pretty much.
Yeah, say what's up. I'll be like, what's up? It'll be great.
I love it. Well, everybody stop what you're doing and go follow her right now. I just did today. I'm not ashamed to say it. I finally caught up on Instagram. And so now we were Instagram buddies. Now we're really Instagram, but we made it official. Just thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with me on a podcast today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Remember at the beginning of the show, I mentioned a little thing called Patreon? Well, I'd love to have you join me. But Gary, what is Patreon? It's a website that is helping small creators like me raise funds to further expand their creative visions. For as low as $1 a month, you can help me further my dream of reaching as many people as possible and eventually taking the show on the road to meet all these fine people face to face and add a video element to this podcast. If you were to donate $4 a month, you'd be hearing this show a few days earlier with no commercials and getting access to my close friends group on Instagram. Donate $10 a month and you get all that plus your name right at the beginning of the show alongside other producers. But act fast. That tier is limited to 10 people. I've got a whole lot more to offer, and you can get all the details over at patreon.com/Gary Cantrell. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. Thanks so much for checking out the show, and I'll talk to you again really soon. HardWorkAlwaysWins.com. It's more than just a clothing line. It's my mantra. I speak it, I wear it, I live it, and I'd love to have you join the Hard Work Squad. We're constantly adding new items to the store, including our brand new Future-ish hats, which come in a variety of colors, including camo. I mean, who doesn't like camo? We also just put our famous Splash logo in gold to match our OG logo, and there's so much more here. You just got to check it out. Here's the best part. Use the code PODCAST at checkout to take 10% off of your very first order and join the Hard Work Squad today.